Hello and welcome back. In the last episode we started building a narrative, but we found that there were holes in our plot which are going to be filled today using what we call a minor arc. Let's get started. Okay, so here we are in the writing studio, and one of the big problems we discovered last time is we really don't know much about this engineer, the person who built the obsidian, and we called him William John Isambard. So let's have a think about him. Why is Isambard doing this? Well, we know that he's doing it. He is taking souls to hell in exchange for time with his dead son Henry, who died aged 6. Now, where is his wife? Maybe she died as well. Maybe she died in childbirth. So let's just put that. His wife died in childbirth, and all he has in the world is his son Henry. When Henry died too, he became obsessed with finding a supernatural method to spend time with him, spend time with his dead son. Now, in some of my other books, I have a book called Slenderman, Take This Child, and an upcoming book called Mr. Deathmask. I have a mythos where we have an offshoot from the Freemasons called the Temple of Other. And the Temple of Other collects kind of supernatural artifacts. So I think I'm going to use that, and then I can tie this book into something else as kind of like branching off from the main series, but as a still within the mythos. Isambard is a Freemason. And knows of the Temple of Other. And let's say that after his wife died, we should give her a name. Let's call it Isabella for the moment. Bella for short. Isabella. After Isabella died, he asked the temple for a supernatural method to be with her. They refused because they said it would lead to his own death. After the death of Henry, they gave him the means. So let's say the first time round, he said, please give me this device, this object, this MacGuffin that allows me to commune with the dead. And let's say the temple gives him a mechanical, let's say, clockwork device let's say in the shape of a human heart, and let's say he was supposed to he's supposed to cut himself open and put it inside, to cut himself open and place it inside him, but instead he built it into his train, the obsidian. Now that's interesting. So we're going into fantasy realms here, but this is what I've been waiting for. I've been quite excited to get to these parts. He should have become like this kind of, he could move between worlds, and instead he's built it into his train. And his train, I just thought he was building the obsidian to be the most luxurious train in the world. He wanted it like the Orient Express, so it's all going well. Right, so we know a little bit about him, and we know a little bit about the device or the mechanics of how he created his ghost train. I mean, it's a weird fantasy. We can put whatever we want. But how are we going to fit that in with the story? Now, for this, we use a minor arc, and a minor arc is effectively an 8-point arc used for a smaller portion of the story. And a really good way to see this in action is to look at Peter Jackson's film of King Kong. And at the opening of the film, the actual stasis, he runs through an 8-point arc. So at the beginning, you see it's the Great Depression. That's your stasis. People are very poor. Then there's a trigger that Denham, who is making his movie, is about to be shut down because he doesn't have an actress. So he goes on a quest. He's got to find an actress. And he finds one. He makes this discovery. He finds his actress, Anne Darrow. And then she has this wonderful critical choice where she has to decide whether or not to get on the boat. And when she gets on the boat, suddenly the climax is there. You see the guy shoveling the coal in and the boat's moving away. And that's it. She's on the boat. She's on a journey, which has now reversed things. He has his actress. He has his film production working. Peter Jackson used the 8-point arc, but did it just for the opening of the film, for the first 20 to 25 minutes of the film. We want to do something like that with our story. So if we come back up, I know we have our 8-point arc up here. So we had a stasis that was quite well written out, and we had a trigger. So now we've got a quest. Robert goes to meet the crazy sister Clara, who is in the sanatorium, if we spell it right, and somehow meets Julia, the school teacher. Julia, we won't forget this time, meets Julia, who is a school teacher. Now we're going on a quest, so that's kind of our stasis. So let's just give that a part 1. Part 2 is a trigger. Clara will talk of Isambard and that he wears symbols of Freemasonry. But she knows his name, which leads to a quest, which is to uncover the history. Now for this we could go back to the revisit the character, the supernatural investigator. I can imagine him like Peter Cushing in some of the old Hammer horror films. You know, he was always some distinguished gentleman who had a library of the supernatural and he knew all of these things. So they revisit the supernatural investigator who tells them of the Temple of Other. At the Temple of Other, they are rejected. But Robert insists in some way and gleans information about they say the mechanical heart, about the mechanical heart that helps somebody cross to the other side. Ooh, this is how you get ghosts, they say. But they never expected Isambard to build it into a train, which is going to lead to a crisis or a critical choice. Maybe he's let's say Robert learns there is I'm thinking like a mechanical compass. Now this is something again from my other books in the Mythos. In Slenderman, Take This Child, they have this like little flip up moon dial that will point the direction. And I'm thinking something like that, a mechanical compass that points the way to the mechanical heart. They also discover that, let's say there is a pattern to when it will appear. So that's interesting. So they've got this little compass and they know in, say, 20 days it will appear, and the compass every day points a little bit closer so they can dash up and down the train line seeing whereabouts it will appear. That was our crisis. Should he steal it? Yes. Robert steals the compass. He steals the compass, which is now reverse thing. So reversal is we now have a way to track the train. We've got it. So we've used the best parts of an 8-point arc. We've kind of repurposed it just to fill this one section of the story, and it's quite nice because we go to a sanatorium, we go and meet the supernatural investigator who can tell them this history, this dark and strange history. We can go to the to the temple and argue and say, look, we're not going to talk to you, but to get some information, we can discover this thing and then go and steal it. So there's a lot going on just within the quest, so that works quite well. So I think we'll leave it there. I'm going to go away and think about this some more, and then the next time we come back, we'll carry on and see if we can fill a few more of those pieces. So until then, I hope you're writing along, I hope you're working on your own stories, and we'll see you real soon.